Hello, my name is Derek Kucharski, and welcome to my presentation on NASCAR and the Confederate flag. In this presentation, I will give a brief overview of the case, followed by my position statement, its three supporting criteria, as well as a short-term and long-term action plan, each including relevant recommendations for NASCAR. NASCAR was founded in 1947 by Bill France Sr. in Daytona Beach, Florida. In its earlier years, NASCAR races were primarily held in the southeast region of the United States, and thus NASCAR has become defined and often held back by its southern heritage and culture. Over the past 70 years, NASCAR has grown significantly, even becoming the second most popular television sport with over 65 million fans. Despite this growth, NASCAR still struggles with distancing itself from its southern beginnings. The most prevalent place this can be seen is in the widespread use of the Confederate flag at NASCAR races and events. Seen on hats, shirts, and more memorabilia than you could count, the Confederate flag is everywhere at NASCAR races. Today, NASCAR is not performing nearly as well as it used to. The sport seems to be dying out. Its fans are getting older and older, and viewership both in person and online are steadily dropping. In addition to these struggles, in light of the recent death of George Floyd, NASCAR is facing significant social pressure to make a stance on racial issues within its organization, primarily in regard to the Confederate flag. It is now upon NASCAR to take action and make a decision on whether or not to ban the Confederate flag. NASCAR must bring an end to this controversial issue and ban the Confederate flag from its events and races once and for all. NASCAR must do this in order to save its brand identity, remove itself from its racist history, and to become a more inclusive and diverse organization. NASCAR should ban the Confederate flag because the flag is a divisive and racist symbol that detrimentally impacts the brand identity of NASCAR. Throughout its history, the meaning behind the Confederate flag has been one of many different opinions. Originally, it was a symbol used to memorialize the fallen leaders of the Confederacy. However, today it is seen as a hateful and racist symbol with a long history of oppression. As a result of this, American society is beginning to shun the use of the Confederate flag. For example, many corporations such as Amazon and Walmart have removed it from their platforms and stores. NASCAR, on the other hand, has only made a few half-hearted attempts to dissuade its fans from sporting the flag at its events. Therefore, the Confederate flag has continued to be a mainstay of NASCAR's fan base. As a result, NASCAR's brand identity is shrouded beneath the dark shadow of the Confederate flag. In order to save its brand identity and reputation, NASCAR must get with the times and take the vital step of fully removing the flag from its organization. The second reason why NASCAR should ban the Confederate flag is that it must sever itself from its inexcusable and vile history of racist tendencies. Both the fans of NASCAR as well as the organization itself have heavily mistreated its minority drivers throughout most of its history. The first black NASCAR driver, Wendell Scott, even drove with a pistol under his seat just in case he needed it for protection. In addition, many of the early African American drivers had to race with inferior equipment as they were unable to receive adequate funding from sponsors. Thankfully, though, NASCAR has taken many steps to rectify its history and transform itself to be a more diverse and welcoming organization. Examples of this are NASCAR's Diversity Internship Program, which was launched in 2000, as well as the Drive for Diversity campaign, which was created in 2004. Now, the only roadblock standing in the way of NASCAR removing itself from its racist history is banning the Confederate flag. NASCAR must ban the flag and finally usher in the next generation of NASCAR, one that is based on diversity and inclusion rather than hate and oppression. The final reason why NASCAR should ban the Confederate flag is because the flag is a direct impedance to making NASCAR a more inclusive and diverse organization. Given that NASCAR's fan base is mostly comprised of white, staunchly conservative males, it is no surprise that NASCAR's fan base is heavily stigmatized. For most, the stereotypical NASCAR fan is a redneck, beer-bellied, racist Southerner. Throw in the hateful messaging of the Confederate flag, and it is no wonder why many individuals, especially minorities, are intimidated to become involved with the sport. Stemming from a lack of new involvement and engagement with the sport, NASCAR has taken a turn for the worst. NASCAR's attendance and viewership of races have dropped year over year, and NASCAR has stopped gaining the interest of younger generations. To fix this, NASCAR must take any steps necessary to support new individuals to become involved with NASCAR. One key step NASCAR must take to do this is banning the Confederate flag. By doing so, NASCAR will open up all aspects of its organization to welcome as many new and diverse members as possible. This will in turn instill new life and opportunity into the future of NASCAR. The first step NASCAR must take in banning the Confederate flag is making a public statement informing all stakeholders of its decision to do so. NASCAR should do this within the next 24 hours. In addition, comprised of executives, crew members, drivers, and other employees, NASCAR must form a diversity action and response team to aid in the implementation and enforcement of the banning of the Confederate flag. This team will be responsible for creating an implementation plan that lays out in detail how to effectively execute and enforce the flag ban. NASCAR should form this team in the next 2 weeks. In the long term, NASCAR must focus its efforts on implementing new diversity initiatives and updating its existing efforts. Therefore, NASCAR should partner with assorted community members to develop a STEM-focused child education program that provides a hands-on learning environment for underprivileged children in inner-city neighborhoods. With multiple different locations around the U.S., this program will foster minority and youth interest in NASCAR as well as in the STEM field as a whole. This program should be developed and released by June of 2024. Lastly, using Formula One's widely popular and successful series Drive to Survive as an example, NASCAR should release its own Netflix documentary series that focuses on various teams and drivers within the NASCAR organization. Given that 53% of Formula One fans said that Drive to Survive played a role in their interest in the sport, NASCAR will also experience a surge in engagement following its release of a Netflix series. Finally, NASCAR will be able to use this as a platform to showcase its new efforts in diversity and inclusion and show the public the new and improved NASCAR brand. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my presentation.